Hello,
Hey everyone,
I'm Corey,
I'm Kelly.
and we're Unleashed. I've had a lot of things on my mind. I guess one thing that just popped up is like my whole schedule. Sorry if I sound funny. I can't feel the left side of my face. Just had some dentist work done, but my whole schedule was my schedule. Let me make sure that's being said right. My plans were completely just thrown off. And Sunday I had like this immediate sense of like melancholy, just complete loneliness, and I've been kind of feeling that for a couple days, but I've still been very happy. Like it's such a weird feeling I've never experienced. It's like things have happened over the last Saturday, Sunday, Monday, so 3 days, 2 or 3 days, that just I realized everything is in God's hands. Like my schedule was completely thrown off, but in that process things have occurred that have just been, I couldn't make it up. I cannot make up what God has planned for me, and I love it. My kids are getting home tomorrow, so I'll be able to be with them for a few days before I go out of town, and a number of other things that I'll just keep to myself. But I just love how I could have gotten upset and been like, man, I've worked so hard to make this happen. But obviously that's not why I was working so hard. I was working so hard so that I could allow other things to happen that God knew were going to happen in my life, where I wouldn't have been in the right place to allow those things to happen the way they did. So I love it. And then I had an experience where I was talking to somebody, and immediately their response was, "I'm so sorry." And I was thinking to myself, I don't want to get caught up in that again. Like if somebody's sharing something with me, I don't want to say I'm so sorry, because that might not, it's more like, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? And I'm thinking about therapists and psychologists and stuff. And if you sit down with a therapist and you're telling them something, they're not going to say, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and start spilling out stuff. They will stop and they'll say, "And how do you feel about that?" Because, how do I know how it might sound so painful to me what somebody's sharing, and I dig in with, "I'm so sorry, I went through blah, 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 blah," and it's like, they didn't even want that. They wanted to tell me how grateful they are for something that I thought was painful. And, I jump in with my opinion, and then all of a sudden they're just stuck absorbing my nonsense when they really wanted to share how excited they were about something else. Like I just took over a conversation. It's just funny how, I don't know, my brain's all over the place. I am just so grateful that I'm not bypassing my emotions or like the way I react to stuff, but I do not get bothered by just about anything. People can ride in my car and listen to this ding, and it gets on their nerves for a couple minutes, and I've been going with it for a good month now. And it just has no effect over me. I love that my external environment no longer it just doesn't affect my day. I just sat at a stop sign, and the person behind me, I know they were getting aggravated, because there was a time I could have jumped out and just sped off, but I'm like, that's just not the rhythm. That is not my flow. So I let another car go, because I could have jumped in front of that car to help the person behind me that's in a rush, and then I would have slowed the person behind me down. So I'm just like in my own flow. I get behind that car, and they just come behind me and speed around me and take off. We get to the next light, and I'm right behind them. It's like I am just in my own flow, and if you're behind me, you're behind me, and you can get into your own rhythm once I get going. But I love that it really does not matter. It really doesn't. And I'm not trying to say like I'm not aware of other people's feelings and other people, whatever they're going through, but I am just at peace with whatever energy somebody else has. And if I'm not vibing with it or whatever you want to call it, I'm going to remove myself. I love that I'm no longer controlling my life. I'm no longer like in this battle to say, well, I was supposed to be somewhere else. No, I'm supposed to be right here, right now at this moment. And I love that I have that connection with this earth that we're on.
I love that because this morning, my plan, like I really love to just wake up and I do some oils and kind of like anointing type, like affirmation kind of stuff to help to get me present in the day. And I'll wash my face and I like to go sit out on my balcony, and I've begun to get into the habit of like sitting out there and reading my scriptures and writing in my journal and, just drinking water and just getting my day started, like that. Well, over the past, since Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I wasn't able to do that because I just had other things that I had to wake up and get going and do. And so I did it yesterday, and I woke up today and I began to do it, and I sat out on my balcony, and as I was sitting there for like 3 minutes, and Corey texted me and said, "You want to get together?" I was like, man, I really like to do this, but at the same time, I felt that, okay, now is a good time to do that. And so my plans got interrupted, but this is so much like, this is perfect sitting right here with Corey right now, because we can only connect whenever we can connect, and so he works full time, and so I'm available whenever I'm available. But I love that. I love being able to just really go with the flow of life and just allow God to move me, and and I'll be able to go back up to my apartment, upload this, and sit down and get back into my scriptures and read, and journal and stuff. And so it's not like I'm not able to do that, but it's just my plans got a little altered with God's plans, and it's just so perfect, and I really love it. I love whenever we're just open to the Spirit, that we're able to change things on a whim. Whenever a person's name, like I can't even begin to tell you, there have just been countless times in my life that I've been driving down the road on my way somewhere, and a person's name will come very strongly into my mind, and I feel like I need to go see them, and I just do. I just follow it, and it never fails. I mean, that was exactly what I needed to do, because it's exactly what that person needed, and it's so amazing. And what you said about like being in conversation with people, and so many times when we're talking with people, we're listening to them, and I've learned this really strongly, like doing this video. Like I've learned we're listening to respond to them. We're listening, and we're having thoughts in our minds, and we kind of get stuck in our own thoughts, and we kind of miss out on what people are even saying. And we want to respond to them in ways that we think that they need to hear from us. And it's us in our heads, and we're not allowing the Spirit to direct us. And if we're able to just really listen to that other person, what happens is truly we become invested in, it's more about them. We're not thinking about us and all of our thoughts and our experiences and what can I share from my own life to make them feel better, or to make them feel whatever it is that we want to make them feel. Whenever we're just open to listening to them, and we can even pause. We don't even have to say anything after they finish talking. We can just allow silence. And that's very, very awkward. It's very awkward for people to be in silence. It just is. It's kind of funny. It's really kind of funny because I allow that many times and people just jump in and just have to talk. But like you said, you know, counselors and therapists and people who are really there for the other person, you're listening in a way that like you want to ask questions. You're invested in them and what they're going through, and instead of taking over, and because I've done that so many times in my life, like I've listened to someone and then I take over and then it becomes all about me, you know. And I recognize that in so many relationships, and it's just how we are, I think, as people. But it's becoming aware of that, especially whenever people are needing to mourn, or are needing to vent, or are needing to whatever it is that they're needing to share. We just need to be space, like a space holder for them to share it, to get things out of them. And we don't have to fix it. We don't have to problem solve unless somebody asks us, I would love to have your opinion. We don't have to give them our opinion. Like I'm really learning that. Like I don't even have to have an opinion about anything with anyone. And it's so freeing whenever we're able to have conversations with people like that. And it's something that we just have to practice, to be mindful of, that this is how we as society, this is how we as people, that we just have learned to interact with one another in that way. And it's just a matter of seeing it, being aware of it, and catching ourselves and just doing it differently. And it definitely takes a lot of practice, because I'm not there. I mean, I still catch myself.
Yeah, those silent moments are great, and they're hard to have.
Yeah.
But I find a lot of it is like, if somebody comes to me wanting to share something, then I take over and have all these things that I want to suggest. It's really me solidifying my own issues, or reaffirming or saying this is why I feel this way. And it's like, that's my problems, and the person really didn't come to talk to me about my problems at all.
Yes, that is one thing, like, that I recognize sometimes. Like, if I have a problem that I need to talk to someone about, you know, whenever I go to that person at that time with my problem, I just need that person to listen. I don't need you to like tell me anything. Just listen to me. And it's like, when you want to deal with your problems, then you come to me and share your problem with me. I mean, yes, there's conversation and there's back and forth, but so many times we'll share and it just gets overridden. It's almost like everything I just said just doesn't even matter, because now it's all about you and it's all about your problem. And it's like, did you even hear what I said? Like, are you even able to hold? And you know, that's one thing, is coming to understand who is a person who can hold space, you know, because there are some people who just are not able to, and we can't expect them to, and we can't, you know, we just have to be aware of those people who are safe for us to share things with that we're going through, because a lot of times it does become about other people, and we just have to be aware of that.
Yeah, and there doesn't have to be a back and forth. There really doesn't. And it might feel awkward for me at first, but I'm still striving to get better at it, but I've really gotten in a place where recently, in the last couple of weeks, I had somebody come to me with something that was obviously very important to this person. And as they started sharing with me, I just kind of sat there and listened and said, well, I'm not in the place to do anything. And it's like, that's all I could say, and I didn't have anything else to say. They continued sharing their feelings and stuff, and I'm just like, you know, I didn't have anything else to say. So it's like, I'm comfortable with silence. I am 100% comfortable. I could sit here for 30 minutes and just look at this phone and push play and just just be here because I'm comfortable. I know that would be pretty boring for everybody else, but
like, are they gonna say something?
even even like high frequency music, sometimes I've got to shut it off, and I just want to be in complete silence.
Oh, me too.
No praying,
Absolutely.
no meditating, no nothing, just shutting it down. And I've said this a number of times, like my sleep patterns, I lay down and I go to sleep, and I do not even have to. I literally lay down with my head on my pillow, and I do not turn, I do not toss, I do not move. I wake up. If my phone is on my chest when I fall asleep, my phone is right there when I wake up. Every single night without, I mean, like literally without exception.
Dang.
And it's just 4 or 5 hours of sleep and I'm wide awake, and it is. I've never experienced this before. I have nothing going on in here.
What do you think has changed for you? Like what?
A lot
what
of
has caused...
meditation, a lot of high frequency music, and I have I really have given my life over just to whatever. I'm not trying to control anything anymore. And like I said at the beginning, I had this feeling of complete melancholy and like real loneliness come over me, and I just sat in it and I was like, I haven't felt this in a long time. And I'm just grateful that I'm able to feel it. And it didn't upset me. I went right to sleep in complete loneliness. And it's like I woke up and I was still lonely. I got up about my day, and I am very, very regular in everything that I do today. I don't know if that's the answer, but there days don't go by where I don't meditate and I don't pray and I don't do specific things that I do that people would find very weird. There's a lot of things that I don't do that most men do that you'd think you couldn't sleep, but I just sleep and I wake up and I have tons of energy, even in my loneliness, even in sadness. I just have a lot of energy. And somebody mentioned on one of our recent videos, and it was a day that I really had a lot of energy, and they made a comment that I looked really tired or something. And like I just felt no need to even address it. And it was a day you literally brought me over right out of deep meditation, and so I'm like just high frequency vibing, and I got that comment and I'm just like, that's really cool. They thought that I was like really tired, and I have not felt tired in I don't even know how long.
It's so awesome.
It is. But I do go to sleep immediately without I just go to sleep. When it's time to sleep, it's time to sleep.
Very amazing.
Yeah, it's a whole different way to live whenever you give your life over to God and you just go until you sleep, and then you wake up and you go until you sleep.
Yeah, it really is what it is all about, is just giving our life to God. Just surrendering. And I never really understood. Like I have felt that I have before in my life, but I haven't. And even like my relationship with Jesus Christ, I've just always felt like I've had a relationship with Jesus Christ. Like I've known him, I've known about him, I've learned about him, I have felt his forgiveness all throughout my life. I've always had Jesus in my life, but I'm just learning there's such a difference between having him in our life and like having him in our heart and in our soul and in our mind, in our devotion, in our worship. It's like I just want to follow him. I want to, whatever I do, I want it to be about him. I love learning about him. I love seeking wherever I can find him, whatever religions offer any information about him. Like I love to learn about him. And as I do, I just realized it's all about love. I was listening to something yesterday, and it was talking about like obedience and disobedience and commandments and laws and just all this stuff, and like we get so wrapped up in the laws and in the performances and in doing all this stuff, and it's like God has just said, love me, love yourself, and love your neighbor. I mean, that is what it's all about, is just love. And we put all these, we just get in our minds all these rules and all these things that we have to do, and then we beat ourselves up about it because we don't do it, and we judge other people because they're doing this or they're doing that, or they look like this or that, and it's just like, oh, we've lost what it's all about. It's just about love. And it's like, when we're loving and we just want to feel Jesus and we want to have him in our lives, it's like we just follow the commandments because they just feel good, and it's because it's just what Jesus did. And the Spirit teaches us and shows us and helps us to know what is right and what is best for us individually. And I cannot judge you because you do something that I think is, a commandment that shouldn't be done. It's like, no, I do not know another person's life. I do not know another person's reasons or their revelation, or I don't know, and it's not my place to judge. It's my place to just love. I mean, everything just comes down to love. And I think whenever we feel that, that's where that peace comes from. And like, you're able to just fall asleep. And I think that is where it's at. I mean, I still I'm not there. I hear you share so many things, and I'm like, man, it's just so amazing. I mean, I'm where I am on my journey, and I see every day little things that I can let go of and do differently, and it's wonderful, and I love it. And I love having people in my life. Like, I have a friend who, I mean, she shares such incredible things with me, the way that you share incredible things with me, the way that abundance is just flowing into her life, and she's just taken care of because she puts her complete trust in God. It's like she has surrendered her life to God and is so devoted to him in a way that I've never seen anyone devoted to God before in my life. And it's like, I want to be like that. And I am. That's the thing about it, is I am like that. Last week I was recognizing how so many times I'll say, it was on our last video. I shared something about I'm gonna be a diamond. I was sharing with her on a recording on Marco Polo, and it's like, I've got all these things, that I'm trying to let go of and working on and everything, and whenever I do, I mean, just, we're gonna be such diamonds, we're gonna be like rock stars. And I'm like, why is it that we can't realize and that we already are? And it's like, why do I think I have to like stop and get rid of all this stuff before I'm gonna be that? Because it's like, we're never going to get to a point whenever we have this in our mind, thinking that I got to get to this point before I am able to
be awesome.
Yeah. And it's like, we're never going to get to that because there's that voice in our head that constantly is telling us that there's more to do. And it's a lie. I mean, we all are children of heavenly parents, and we are so amazing. Yeah, we got all these magnets on us. Yeah, we got all this stuff to get off of us. But we can at any moment, I mean, we're only now. We're just living right now in this present moment. And it's like, we don't have to have all of the stories, all of the shame, all the guilt, all the stuff. I mean, yeah, we do have to work through that stuff. We do have to change our our state of mind, we do have to get rid of the patterns. Not even get rid of them, because then we're holding on to them. We just have to see them and let them pass and not attach to them, and just live in light, live in love, live in that revelation constantly, live in the spirit that guides us to make really great choices that just feel good. And that's when we're living that way, we can be present with people and just be love, and just be a space for people to process their stuff without fixing it, without having to give them our opinions, without doing anything unless it's asked for. Yeah, it just all really boils down to love.
Yeah, it is. It's all about it. Yeah, in the past few days, I've found myself making a few judgments, and I realized it just had to do with my own imperfections. You know, my own mistakes that I make on a daily basis. It's so easy to see them in others, and you always hear that, but those are my judgments, are of myself. And I mean, it could be the complete opposite of what I'm dealing with, but it's still my judging their opposite of me. I'm able to see that. It's like, just so being judgmental is just putting stuff back on myself every single time. And in the past, whenever I would really feel anything, you know, that feeling of just sadness, I would just have to reach out to people. I needed some affirmations from other people, but I just sat in it, and it felt good. No matter how weird that sounds, it felt good to just embrace loneliness. You know, why does loneliness have to be something that is bad? Why does depression have to be something that is suffering? You know, you can go through it and just still be happy and still make positive growth choices in life. I mean, right now, I really didn't want to do this, but I felt like I needed to. Because, I mean, my whole face is just all messed up. My talking probably sounds funny. But it's where I felt I needed to be. So Kelly responded, and here we are.
Because I almost was like, okay, this is my time. So I'm going to put my phone down, not even look at it, so I could just focus on what I was doing. But I looked at it, and there it was. And so I was like, okay, let's go.
Life is beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
You know, every day I make I don't even call them mistakes in my life today. Every day I do things.
Just learning.
Every day I have an opportunity to learn and grow through doing things that just don't feel great. And, you know, if I want to hold on to them and feel guilty and feel shame about them, I'm not going to sleep good tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can just acknowledge it for what it is and say, that was what that was. Thank you. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for letting me experience that again. I'm right asleep.
Yeah, and it's like, and I don't have to do that again tomorrow.
And
like, I don't ever have to do that again. Right. That's the thing about it, is just recognizing, getting it out of our head that, like, there's just so much judgment and guilt and shame and beating ourselves up constantly and just living with all that stuff. It's just, we're in a process of learning and constantly moving more and more and more into more light, more positiveness, more higher vibration. And it's like, as we make these choices, we just feel it. And we're like, it's not like we have to beat ourselves up about it. It's like, I just don't want to do that because it just doesn't make me feel good. Like, it just keeps me in this other place that I don't want to live there. I want, especially whenever, like, with fasting and with being on, like, higher spiritual planes, that just, you just feel really good. Like, you know what is possible, and you just want to make those choices that help you to stay at that place. And so whenever you make choices that, and it's not even like a good and bad choices, it's just, you just know it when you make the choices that they just don't add to your life. It brings you down, and it's just, you just don't want to do that. And like you said, if you do, you recognize it and you're like, why did I do that again? Because I mean, I find myself doing that a lot with food, because food is just a big thing that all of us, we eat every day, all the time. We're all addicted to food. I mean, I'm coming to understand so much about food, and it's just like, that is one thing that we all do, that we can all make better choices with. And when we do, we just feel it physically, mentally, spiritually. It just affects us on so many different levels. And so that is a good place to recognize and to practice and to work on changing in our lives, because it's one of the biggest things that we can recognize the growth. And it's not even about weight. It's not even about anything like that. It's just about how it makes us feel, like I said, on all levels.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about, we could just have a food podcast and talk about food all the time, because I mean, food is such a thing.
I haven't been called skinny since I was like 14 or 15 years old, and in the last few months I've been called skinny quite a bit, because that's how I eat. I am naturally a skinny person because I don't eat every day, you know? And I just don't eat very much on days I do eat. And it's not because I'm trying to control anything. I love how I feel. I love the way that, I just love life.
I know.
Life is so good.
I do too. I woke up today just like singing in my head. Like, just so happy to have another day to live, and to just love it. You know, like the past Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I was very active. I was around a lot of people, and, you know, and giving and doing and stuff. And that, for myself, I've learned that it does take a lot out of me. It really does drain me. And I'm coming to recognize, to feel how it affects my body, how it just affects me. And I have to take time for myself today to just rest, and to just, like you said, just be in complete silence, not listen to anything, not just nothing, you know, because it's just what we need. I mean, it truly is. And I love that. I love coming to really understand myself and give myself those things that I need to be the best that I can be whenever I do show up, whenever I do go to events and I'm with people, because it helps me to be in a state of mind where it's not about me. I'm able to go and give. And what's so amazing is that as we're in that state of mind and we're going to things to be able to give to people, as we're giving and as we're speaking life and we're speaking love into people, and we're there just listening to people, it's so amazing because it just comes right back to us. It's like we are fed so much more. It's so interesting. Instead of going to things and, you know, because I've always been very insecure with myself for so many reasons that I've shared on here. I mean, y'all can go start from the beginning and you're going to learn a lot about us. But I've just had so much insecurity, and I walk into a room and my immediate feeling is like, oh gosh, everyone's looking at me. What is everyone thinking about me? You know, and it's me. And we're all like that. I mean, we truly are. I've learned that we're all like that. But there are those people, and I want to be that person, and I'm coming to understand it, and I'm practicing. You know, I want to be that person where I walk into a room and it's all about everyone else. It's about, and not even necessarily about everyone else, but it's about that one. It's about that one person that God brings me to speak to. That it's listening and living in the Spirit and living in that revelation where we're just a vessel for God to use. And it's not about me, it's about me finding the one that needs God, that needs me to be a vessel for Him. And it changes everything. And I've known that, I've heard that, I've learned that, but it's a whole different thing to know it and to live it and to feel it.
And it really isn't hard to find that person.
It's not.
Because they're really wanting to share. They're really wanting to pour out whatever's on their mind.
Yes.
So if you're walking around just trying to pour your stuff out, you won't find that person. But it's really easy to find the person that's in need. If you just shut your mouth and you look for somebody that just looks like they're in need.
Yeah.
It's easier done than we think. It's, you say it's easier said than done. No, it's not. It's easier done than to talk about.
Yeah.
You just shut up and it happens.
Right. Truly.
I love not being in control of anything. My entire life right now, sitting here, is completely out of whack for anybody else. Like, if I was not me, I just shouldn't be here. Well, I need to be somewhere else. But I'm right where I need to be. And I love that. Like, you can't throw a wrench in me and get me to, it's all good. And I don't say that in a bypassing manner or like a whatever. I just feel at peace with whatever change God brings into my life. And it's perfect.
Absolutely.
I love y'all.
Bye, y'all.